Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another film review. This is a sort of different film review, excuse me, as it's based on an ITV series which came out, I believe, in the early sort of 2000s. I can't remember the exact date, but it stars one of my favourite actors of all time, Sean Harris, who I absolutely adore, as you know. And I know I adore the guy, but he tends to play quite villainous roles, and this one is no exception. And we're looking at See No Evil, the Moors Murders, based on the true story of Moira Hindley and Ian Brady. Sean Harris plays Ian Brady. Now, this is a true story, and it's based on these two serial killers. They killed, I think, 6 young boys and girls, and sexually assaulted them and killed them on the moors in the Manchester sort of area and Saddleworth moors. They were taken up there, they were abused and then murdered and then buried out there, 6 of them, and they were all done by Ian Brady and Moira Hindley. And this film shows the story of those two, plus Moira's sister and her husband, who not really they were nothing to do with his murders, but the husband of his sister came close to joining Ian, because Ian was this sort of brainwashing sort of way that he was with his brother, her brother. I'm trying to remember the names of the brother and that. I'm not very good with names, as you well know. But this follows the story of the two killers and her sister and brother, and the sort of relationships that they build around each other, and they go on. At first, Moira's sister's husband doesn't like Ian at all, but she wants him to become friends with him so they can sort of maybe go out more and stuff like that. Because at this point they don't know that these two are killers, and they've had a young baby, and they're sort of struggling to get by, and then sadly they lose the baby, which is very upsetting. Even Moira's upset about it all, and their mother. And so they're trying to sort of like bond with Ian and Moira to sort of be, just sort of like to give them a new lease of sort of life. And Ian starts working his sort of brainwashing onto her husband, getting him to read all these books, and his books are all about murder and rape and things like this, and getting him to sort of like highlight all these things in his books. And the young couple also struggling with their rent at the they're really struggling to keep up with their bills, and she falls pregnant again, and they're going to be evicted. So her husband is now trying to arrange with Ian to do a bank robbery, because they really need the money. But Ian comes up with this new plan to just sort of like get some rich guy, sort of lure him to the house with Moira, and then sort of threatening him for money. But what actually happens is, when they get this guy to the house, Ian murders him. He kills him with an axe, and the guy witnesses this, and he's absolutely shocked and sickened by it, and he eventually goes to the police about it. And he's in this is when the first sort of like time that they get arrested. So Ian Brady then gets arrested for the murder of this guy. Moira gets released for the murder of this guy although she was there and sort of like as an assistant. But then they find these old suitcases of like old photographs and stuff of on the moors, and they find pictures of Myra sort of like leaning over this ground area, like which is like a grave, and sort of smiling and laughing and posing over it. And these photographs are the graves of the young children that have been murdered by these two. So then Moira is then sort of like brought into custody again, and then we see the court case, and they go through the court case, and we see that the poor young couple that really don't have nothing, just because she's Moira's sister, has nothing to do with this, but they're getting absolutely penalised by members of public. They're getting spat at, they're getting their house graffitied, they're getting the children are getting picked on, their kids and stuff like this, and it breaks their little family apart. And it's sad to see this, and we see all this sort of going on, and the parents of this of one of the children that are murdered is sort of like still blames them for it when it's nothing to do with him. It was all Ian and Myra. Eventually the story sort of evolves round, and the young couple tend to get back together again for a short while, but she struggles to get back into a sort of normal relationship with the husband and the children and stuff, and she walks away, and apparently she died in real life of a brain hemorrhage. You can see she's having problems, because when she was in court, she was nosebleeds and stuff like this in court, so she suffered with some sort of thing, and she died quite young. And then eventually 3 of the bodies were found by the police. A lot of this is evolved around the police investigation and stuff like that, and there's some sort of quite famous actors in it. The investigation takes place, and they eventually uncover 3 bodies. And at the end of the sort of there's 2 episodes in this sort of drama. It comes up saying that they admitted to killing the other 2 as well, and the body of Pauline, one of them, was found, but John, the young lad, the young boy's body, is still never found, and it's still up there to this day. And obviously Maura Hindley died. I'm not sure if Ian Brady's dead now, I'm not sure. But Maura Hindley died. And this all happened in the sort of like 1950s, 60s period. And it was a true case in Britain. It rocked the country, it really did. Because it was like a sort of really unheard of thing here, serial killers here in the UK. But that's what happened. What do I think of See No Evil, the Moors Murders? I thought it was incredible. Really enjoyed it. It was a really, really well portrayed little series. And I think it really sort of... Sean Harris's portrayal of Ian Brady is cold. It's absolutely cold. It leaves you shivering, because it's not because he's so haunting or anything like that, or because he's so normal, and he plays the part so normal, but it's just the way his expressions, and this is why I love Sean Harris, because his facial expressions do the acting for him in a lot of times, because Sean Harris as an actor is quite a quiet spoken actor. He when he speaks, his voice is quite quiet, and he's got a bit of a Scottish accent on this one, because obviously Ian Brady was Scottish, and his portrayal is very cold. It's very, very like that, and I like that. The other pluses of this edition is that I like the way it looks. It's filmed like it's old, like 1960s. It's filmed in that way, not with like all flashy colours. It's got that drab, drained colours with grain and stuff in the picture, which I think you need for this sort of story, because you don't want it to look glamorous and amazing. A bit like 10 Willington Place, the film that Richard Attenborough did. Again, the colours are drained, and it looked like that period of time post-war, and this looks like the 1960s. It's really well core, and it's a really great portrayal by these 2 here. Absolutely fantastic. The negatives of it, there is a negative about this. The negatives of it, I think it's too short. I think it was too short. I'd like to have seen a more portrayal of Ian Brady. I'd like to have seen Sean Harris have a bigger role, and you could see that in the second episode, they were just sort of like jumping. Right, okay, so you're guilty in prison. We don't see nothing of that. We don't see them confessing to the other two murders. We don't see any interviews with Ian Brady or anything like that. We don't see anything like that, which I think is a big negative to this, because we don't see any of that. It seems to concentrate more on Maura Hindley's sister and husband than it does the actual killers. It really sort of shies away from that. And I think that's a shame. I think that's what it missed. We could have had a whole episode of the interviews, of them both being interviewed by the police. That would have been fantastic. But it's not in there. But saying that, it was still an awesome watch. It's a great watch. I'm going to score it 8 out of 10. It would have got a 10 out of 10 if it had had stuff like that in it. But because it didn't, it just lacked that... It just lacked that sort of full story. It just felt, here's the story. So the first episode, we're getting to know Maura and Ian, and then we get to see that sort of horrible crime at the end of the first episode where Ian kills that man with the axe, and then we're straight into the second series and they're in court and convicted, but we don't see anything of any of the court case, really. You don't see anything of it. You just see the questioning of the two witnesses. No questioning of Ian or anything. And in the second episode, I don't think Sean Harris had an actual line to say in the whole sort of episode, which again is criminal. Why? And I just think it just seemed to have lost its way, and that is why it's knocked down 2 points to 8 out of 10. Otherwise, it's great. It's still a great watch, really interesting, and Sean Harris' portrayal of Ian Brady is phenomenal. Really, really cool. It's worth watching for that alone. Just a shame in episode 2 it was kind of sort of like wiped out. See No Evil, The Moors Murders, 8 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you thought of it. It's been out a while. And I picked this up because I thought, well, I'm trying to sort of sorry about that, guys. My phone was ringing. I'm trying to fill out my Sean Harris collection with the stuff I don't have, and so I managed to pick that up. So it's really, really cool. Really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.